Welcome to Island Tea with your faves Kevon and Amali and with Azem on the ones and 96s. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on WINNMedia 98.9.
Azem told me to do it. But good morning, and welcome to another
man put him in,
episode
man.
of Island. He said big shoes, so it's big shoes. Of Island Tea
Maybe it's a
with your faves, Kevon and Amali, featuring Azem on the ones and 96s. And
Big up
Jade,
yourself.
who is on the other stuff, the OBS and the mouse. But it is Thursday, and we all know what Thursday means in this room.
the end of the world as we know it. Oh no,
That
that's only
too.
in America.
That too.
Yeah.
Remember they say if they sneeze we catch a cold, so anyway.
Not no, because Corona, the borders are ajar, so right now this sneeze we might hit but we ain't catching the cold.
Nah. Allergies.
We don't catch the cold already. This is life without tourism, man.
How that feeling? I guess it depends.
It depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask. The people who work in hotels is dreadful. But I don't know. Who
Yeah,
else knows
I
about
could go
it?
to the beach. I could go to the beach at like 11 a.m. now when there's no one.
You know, I've actually enjoyed that about the lockdown, like the
Yes.
whole borders closed thing.
Yeah, me too.
These people gonna get vexed with me for saying this, but I'm not a big beach fan.
Neither am I.
It's not the beach. It's not the beach is the issue for me. Is the leaving process that has just turned me off from going to begin with. The having to wash off your foot, the sand, the
There's
salt.
too much things to do.
It's just like I can't just go and just like somehow just get home without having to leave it all.
You could. You just go clean up your car after.
That's the thing. I don't want to clean out the car. So it's the leaving process that does really get on my nerves. The whole, you got to wash off your foot from the sand or stay out the water long enough for your skin to dry, so you could dust off the sand, and then you have the salt that's like eating away at your face. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoyed going to the beach during the lockdown.
I enjoy the
It's
fact that
regularly.
it's not as populated. Yeah.
That early morning swim was really nice, but it's no longer conditions for that because the water out there is like ice water.
Yeah, the early morning swims, they hit different right now.
I saw Carla yesterday. Carla Esteban, who went for a swim. I told her good luck.
She was suffering from hypothermia.
I don't know, but she said, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." And then the person she went with was like, but it was cold water season. But that's what you get. You can't have perfection all the time, I guess. But it is now Thursday, January 7th, and on Thursdays we grind gears. So let us grind some gears. Yesterday I started grinding again. I forget what it was. Let me say we was gonna come back to it, but I can't remember. As usual.
Yeah, there's so many.
I think it had something to do with food places.
That's what we were talking about at the end there.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was. Oh well.
Oh well.
It is what it is.
But if you're listening, watching, you can shoot us some comments. So let us know what grinds your gears, which probably grinds ours too, by default. And we'll grind some gears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think everybody is so calm now.
Everybody just kind of in this zen mode.
I think what's happening is just that there's just so much angst being swallowed up in one particular place in the world that it's left the rest of us feeling very light.
This weekend I brought up in Morocco.
Marker?
I mean, care about that there, by.
See, I care to the extent that I see it as a foreshadowing.
Yep.
But in terms of what grinds my gears, what's really been grinding my gears lately, and by lately I mean yesterday afternoon, is the difference in the treatment, the blatant like reality that everyone is not treated equal. As this whole thing played out in the US, and I know we'll talk about it throughout the show, but that has been not surprising, but witnessing it still don't feel right. Especially having lived in the United States, especially having dealt with a certain level of mistreatment. And having those experiences and then looking back at this, and the things kind of just come in full circle, I think.
Yeah, big time.
Come in full circle.
Azem, what upsets me more than the white privilege that exists in, these white nations. We spoke about it earlier this week. It could have been last week. Is white privilege that exists in black nations as well. We spoke about the difference in customer service.
Yep.
When you walk into an establishment, being different between you and Peter. Right? And it happens in restaurants, it happens at tour companies, it happens at tourist sites,
it happens in dealings with
on the beach with the guys with the beach chairs. It happens everywhere.
I would go even further to say that
taxi operators. Oh Lord.
It happens even in the way we in conversation with policymakers, government officials, all them things, and them things there just have long-reaching effects.
Yeah.
But how do we cast off these chains of colonialism and in our case neo-colonialism and
none but time by
time?
Because these things are deeply rooted psychological issues that people have. When they see white skin, they feel the need to act a certain way because they see this skin as superior or as more important. You can't just talk to somebody and they start feeling that way.
Yeah.
That will come with generational change.
But that's my issue. My issue is that I don't see it happening just by the passage of time. It would have to be a systematic attempt to change the culture.
Because it's everything to, even down to little code switching. You talk to you talk to a local, you talk fine. You talk to a local CEO, you talk fine. You talk to a local politician, you talk fine. But let a person, a white person be in your side of view and you have to engage with them. It's a total switch in conversation. Suddenly you feel you need to respond on a happiness level of 600. Everything is a giggle and a smile and that kind of joyous response to everything. Instead of just having a conversation, then the grammar changes. You start spokesing like you never spoke before to somebody all over there biting up your tongues.
That thing you spoke about first does really get to me, eh?
And that's the thing,
the excitement, you like the excitement thing. Let's get like that does really
Like,
just
where
make
that
me
come
very
from?
uncomfortable when I see people do it. Like, hey, like
Yeah, like where that come from? Like we don't, we don't have to do that.
oh, but that does really get to me. I ain't gonna lie. That the change in the level of enthusiasm and excitement does really just I don't understand it. It's like I don't understand it.
And that's why I laud organizations, company, establishments that give tremendous service across the board.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, we mentioned Mangoland, we mentioned a couple others. Where you walk
Regardless
in
of
no
not
matter
only
who walk
skin
in the
color
door.
but social status.
No matter who walk in the door, you feel valued,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Because even though I do believe that we have issues of like colorism and stuff here, I do believe the issues of classism, sexism, and ageism. I think them three things also very, very rampant. Yeah, like the way people treat you because they're young,
And treat your ideas,
and treat your
And
ideas
your opinions.
and your opinions. Yeah,
even if they agree, it's supposed to come from you.
right. And if you come from a certain community, or you come from the back of the land, or you come from Matnet or Newton or Economy or wherever, or you come from town, like these weird social constructs that people then use to judge one another is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Even the way you dress.
Huh?
Dressism.
Dressism.
That's a big thing too. Because people interact with you differently based on how you look. You walk into an establishment in a long sleeve and shiny shoes, and you get different treatment from a man who come in a shirt that is worn and torn. What you want, eh? But then like Kevon walking behind me.
No soliciting, sir.
Yeah, like Kevon walking behind me, tucked down in his, as we say in St Kitts, he walk close. There's a different reaction.
Yeah.
And they nothing to say that I ain't more money than Kevon.
But
that's the
even
thing
in
too.
case that but even if you do have more money, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
And
if
I
I
know
come
it
into
should
your
matter.
business place with
And
respect and come to the business.
There's actually a video with a guy. It's a skit at a car dealership. Many of I ever see it, and it's a Rolls Royce dealership.
Oh yeah.
And this black guy
I
in just
saw
a
that.
t-shirt and jeans come in. And older guy, look like he in his 50s, and he asking nigga this cans, and the man basically questioning like, yo, you
He
can't afford
basically,
this. Like,
he
what you
basically
want?
saying,
What
you
want?
know, why you wasting my time?
Yeah.
Let's not waste time because you can't
Yeah.
afford it to begin with.
Yeah. And then another guy walked in his work clothes, quote unquote, look nice, sharp in his suit and so.
Bragging.
And the
on
man
lots of
rolled up the
things.
red carpet. But then when it's time to run the credit, he failed.
But then no, didn't the man just say he can't even afford it or something? He just come to look or something? Like,
But bro, you know the funny thing about
The man
this?
is credit. But then the other guy walked in first, bought the car cash, and tell
and
the
gave the
boss
sale
man,
to somebody
yeah,
else.
I want commission go to this fellow over here.
Yeah.
The man said, I'm an investor. I'm very wealthy, but I'm retired now and just enjoy my life.
Right. You know the funny thing is I could speak directly to that. And taking advantage of that reality. I remember when I had finished with in college, I was looking for work, and one of the companies I went to interview at, there was a Porsche dealership next to the company, and it was me and another friend. Like we literally had the interview the same day. A dude who graduated same class. I used to hang out by his house, everything, and he was a big car fan. So I was like, well, let's go test drive one. Like, why not? And he's like, I was like, look, this is what we are doing. We're going home. I got like 2 suits. We put on the suits and come back. We literally went home, dress up and come back, and test drive the Porsches. No, we literally unemployed. But because we came in there in
Same
suits.
They answer question.
Ask a question. The kind of treatment we
Red
get in there,
carpet.
right? The kind of treatment we get in there. I mean, I guess it kind of helped that he was a white guy too, and you know what I mean. But
Are you like a drug dealer?
yeah, maybe we look like producers or something. And that's the thing. Like, we was in like Winter Park, so like there's a lot of like music people around. So
They automatically assume that
yeah, I
you
think
will
they
probably
assume that
want
we're
to.
into like music or something like that or whatever. But yeah, like I knew if I went in any clothes I had on, even to go for the interview, it wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't have gotten the same treatment. But you know, that's the reality. That's the reality.
Right.
Welcome to life, eh? And that's how it is.
So
you
it
know.
go on
And-
the banyan tree.
So I think we have to make decisions, though. I think we have to make decisions, understanding the reality, understanding the situations about where and when and how we operate in certain ways. For instance, I would have used, in the example just now, the story, I would have used knowledge of the situation to achieve what I wanted to achieve. Right? I think it's all well and good for us to know that this isn't the way it should go. But I think it's key for us to recognize how it is and use that to our advantage so that we could place ourselves in positions to change it. It's not always wise to just decide, well, this ain't how we be and just be a rebel and whatever, and really and truly you ain't going nowhere. All you're doing is making noise. But I think that being able to work our way into position where we could, even in a small way, affect the change that we want to see, then I think it's a small price to pay sometimes for working with the program. Daniel in a Babylon.
Yes.
It's so
One of
bad.
our listeners just messaged me. Big up Pino one time.
Pino?
5-star.
5-star.
5-star Pino. Pino said, what going these guys is people that cut you off coming out of a stop and then drive 5 miles forward in front of you.
Yeah, that's my biggest. How
Boy. How much time you talk about this, boy?
That is
Oh.
just make me want to like just pick up the car and just fling it in the ocean.
What is going to make it is people who just drive slow, like unreasonably slow during a time when people need to be somewhere.
I think, right? And what I do is, if I'm carrying if for some reason I have to drive extremely slow, I put on my hazard blinkers because I want you to know that this is the speed that I'm going to drive at.
So and you're aware.
And I'm aware.
Yeah.
So like it mostly only happen like if I'm carrying food. Like if I'm carrying a pot of soup in the car,
From
I
Hazel?
kind of have to drive. No, like Granny, pick up a soup from Granny,
Oh.
like a big pot, like the actual big pot.
Do you ever get called after these pickups, Amali? We like soup
But who
too.
sent me for the soup?
But we like soup.
But me can't give the owner the soup.
So you
But
don't
this
have
is
copy
long time.
one.
This is like Christmas Day when I'm driving really slow. I'm going to pick up the food and
So Christmas Day, you had soup in your car?
You imagine that.
all kind of things like something with gravy, like something that requires you to actually take your time and
And
drive.
man, really
I
digging
put
a
on my
deeper hole.
flashes. I don't care.
But yeah, really, is it
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I actually put on my flashes to let you know that hey, the speed that I'm driving at is probably going to be the speed I'm going to drive at for the rest of the drive. So feel free to know that I'm not gonna go any faster, so you can overtake.
You know how good I feel when like drivers of like either heavy machinery or
They
bigger
help you
vehicles,
overtake.
and they either just give you the signal to pass when it's safe, or
Or they
pull off on the
and-
shoulder.
Yeah, when they realize it's a block up behind them,
Just
just pull over and let everybody
and
pass.
and Godspeed, sir. Even though it's slow in your case,
God's slow, yes.
God's slow. Yeah.
Yeah, man, them man was really upset. Like while you're driving at 10 kilometers at 8:30 in the morning, and you're seeing traffic back up behind you, but we can't pass because it's rush hour traffic going both directions, so you can't overtake. So we're actually relying on the people in front of us to drive briskly, not speedily and irresponsibly, but with some haste and some thoughtfulness, knowing that, listen, people behind me trying to get to work, ain't about me today. They don't do it. And sometimes I wish me car had, remember them old Pajero with the girl on the
The
front?
girl on the front, yeah.
So you could
Boot up into the back of them.
give them a gentle
Just
tap.
ease them, man.
Yeah,
gentle
just
tap.
just pull up alongside and I was like ding.
Yeah.
I like considerate drivers and I like people that drive and know that they want to help you drive too, which is also indicating. I don't think people understand how uncongested junctions would be if people indicate. That alone will solve a lot of the traffic issues in St. Kitts, because indicating lets people know where you're going. So most people could know, do I have the clear to turn or do I have to wait? And if you indicate and say you turn in, some people in the junction can also exit the stop while you're turning. But then when you don't put it on and you start turning, it's already too late for that person to gear up to turn. And then you just waste everybody's time.
You know, where's my gears? But then stoplights will move from green to yellow in 8 seconds.
You know,
so only 2 cars come out this time.
No, you know, the one by...
I don't know why that happens.
What has happened by it?
The one by name, Convent School Roundabout, coming from Wellington Road, headed into the roundabout. That catch me once. That catch me once. One time I was waiting. It went green, and before I could even put my foot on the gas, it went back red. I literally didn't, and I was in front. I was in front. I was at the front of the line and didn't get the chance to leave. And I was like, okay, I was like, did I just pass out for a few seconds and miss something? Like, I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, we have to be careful about this. There are such things as world standards and best practices. Unfortunately, these seem to be exhibited and developed more so in the developed world than in developing countries. And most of those developed countries happen to be majority white populations. So it would seem like they are always passing down the standards to us, and that in itself can be a factor in why we have this neo-colonialistic thinking. Even people who know better indulge in it. Most likely it's subconsciously. Look at how, for instance, our leaders still strive for awards and accolades from overseas people, right? Why, for instance, should the chief of police be more accepting of a police medal from the Queen as opposed to our own Medal of Honor? If you see what I mean, right?
I think you see that.
It's a mindset, I think, that has to be changed, not just by the passage of time, but by concrete steps to deal with the many idiosyncrasies and quirks that we tolerate and promote in the name of tradition. Okay, those have to go. And you would think that that's the easiest place to start, but somehow it seems very difficult for the powers that be, those who can change the things, those who can make the change. It seems very difficult for them to make them. I don't know why, because I mean they're like I said, educated, they know the history. I would think that they know what needs to be done to take us out of this situation, this situation where we always feel inferior to what comes from overseas. But I guess it is what it is. All right then.
Thank you very much, sir. And the thing is,
we have another one?
We do?
Yeah, we do. Oh, good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Grinding gear issue for me.
Grind away.
I like the traffic issues. I don't know if you ever noticed that to leave the hospital to go to an emergency situation, say like for the ambulance, it's going to Keon or beyond the airport area. I wonder why the ambulance, find it fit to go through the heart of town as opposed to take the F.D. Williams Highway. The meander through and through traffic, Hong Kong, we are kind of thing. And hopefully nobody gets hit in its quest to try and go through. I always wonder why they choose often to go that road. A suggestion, I probably bring it up on Traffic Talk. There's a little, a little kind of pathway between the F.D. Williams Highway and by the cable junction, where the cable heading I wonder if they can open it up, just for emergency vehicles, the police, and everything, so that they can use the and
I know what you mean.
yeah, and that's where they're going to.
If you come out the hospital and take the left and go straight up.
Take the left, right.
Oh, okay.
And then use that route. I mean, I guess it has to be police in a way because other people can want to use it too. But to me, that's a pretty effective way of getting to where you want to go in a hurry. Instead of going through stoplights, going the red, and that kind of thing.
That's part of the fun, Carlo.
I know. I guess it's good practice for people when they hear the siren, pull to the left.
Yeah.
But in an ambulance, they're kind of wide and hopefully there is no traffic.
And then, on top of that, most roads don't have a left to pull onto.
A shoulder, yeah.
So,
Shoulder.
It'll be very interesting. Some things actually, and I'm not disputing your point, but sometimes things appear to be a certain way and they're not. It would be very interesting if they actually did the science and did the test runs and so, and it's actually faster to go downtown than to go on the bypass road.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Because in theory,
I was wondering.
you would assume that the bypass road faster, but if you factor in the sirens and people pulling over on the side,
yeah, that's
it
true.
might actually be faster to go downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like they should try it out, maybe do a little...
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I think they did.
They probably did.
They probably did, yeah.
That's a good point.
Because they go through, but once you're going from the hospital past the airport, I think that would be a more effective way. You could, the speed limit, of course, don't apply to ambulance in case it's an emergency, I guess not. But you could do it with a certain degree of caution on the highway as opposed to going through town.
Yeah, I mean, just going through the guts alone in the ambulance, there's be something.
Yeah, that's another thing. All right, thanks.
All right then, thank you very much. Interesting, boy. We should
I
inquire about that.
I've heard people discuss the same topic, and that's generally the way the argument goes. But they must know. They probably don't work out the quicker to go through town. But
and if it is, I wouldn't
change it.
No, I wouldn't dispute it either. Like I wouldn't say no, but I may believe that.
No, I wouldn't dispute it. But my thing is that I think you're taking some risk.
Because there could be accident and
It could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
and because there's very little room to maneuver.
Yeah.
In town.
Yeah. I wonder if they actually because actually people who do these things they calculate risk and the level of risk and the percentage and so.
Mm-hmm.
As if you go down Canal Street, there might be an accident, but the chances of the accident are X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And if there isn't an accident, then the chance of getting to the person would be faster. So it's
But then again, who knows? Maybe they even get updates on traffic or whatever. Who knows?
That's possible as well.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the traffic department literally crossed the road.
Yeah, and there's always police downtown.
Yeah, so I don't know. But who knows? I do think though that I don't know why that road is kind of overgrown. People use it as a footpath.
So it's at the top of the road there.
Yeah, it's at the top
so
of the
they come
road.
out the airport exit.
Next to the cable.
The hotel exit. You take a left and go straight to the top.
Yeah, go straight to the top.
And that connects to the FT Williams?
Yeah, it's a footpath right now. People walk there. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But I think it's a good suggestion. The sense could be done.
Yeah. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Happy New Year to all of you.
Same to you. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Now, your last caller, I agree with him, with what he said in terms of the ambulance and the routeway, the new routeway. I agree with him a lot. Because I have seen some situations where you have the ambulance and the siren. Well, I stepped away because I didn't hear your last discussion on this, so I don't know if I will repeat something that was mentioned. But I have seen situations where the ambulance and the siren, is coming full speed in heavy traffic. And sometimes other drivers, they are not in a position to pull over. Sometimes where they are, they don't even have space to pull over. But that ambulance is barreling coming on top of those persons. And I'm wondering, what is the kind of mentality that drives this? Because to me, this is nonsense.
It does seem very
There are
insane
persons,
sometimes.
vehicles that have been damaged, and up to now, nobody has gotten redress. I remember in the countryside, I happened to be coming up a particular area, and the ambulance came down from the opposite direction in such a speed, with such a speed. The driver on the other side, stopped, and that ambulance came down that hill off the side of its road and hit the vehicle on that side and damaged the, what they call it, the rear view mirror, that's what they call it, the side view mirror.
Side view,
The side view mirror. And the guy got all kinds of problems. And up to now, that mirror has not been fixed by the authorities or whoever is responsible. So this sort of thing, it cannot be right to the citizens. Can't be right. I mean, if there's a liability that is caused, somebody has to be responsible, but it shouldn't be the driver. It shouldn't be the driver. And I think, like what was mentioned earlier, maybe it's a mentality thing. I don't understand why this has to happen like that, because if there's another option in terms of a routeway, take it. You're going to have the siren anyway. I don't think it's going to, maybe you might go faster. But I really don't understand the kind of mentality that is driving this type of behavior. And finally, before I go, how trained are our persons and the ambulance that involved in this, what they call it, the EMS service? How trained are they? Sometimes I said, my God, I'm sorry for that sick person inside there more than not. Because the constant moving and rocking and all of that sort of thing, doesn't it cause more damage to that person inside there?
Not necessarily, because most of the time the person
but what about the training
in the
of
vehicle
the
is strapped down, so there's not much movement happening. And then the vehicle, the gurney, the stretcher is like attached to the floor of the moving vehicle, so there shouldn't be much rocking.
Okay, what about going around the corners and all these things? Because we see, sometimes we look at TV, and those who have been outside there, we have seen these things. I remember it's broad streets these vehicles drive on, So in a way, there's a stabilizing factor. There's a stabilizing factor still, but we have a lot of corners that they go around and so on. We don't know how trained our emergency EMS personnel are to handle the crisis case in the first place. Much more to take on all of these corners, movements, and all these sort of things. I think something like what the last caller said, I think that option makes a whole lot more sense, and they need to reconsider. All right.
Thank you very much for the insight.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've seen situations where the ambulance is coming through town and buck up on a learner. And somebody who's learning to drive, and I've seen how that has slowed down the ambulance. I've seen that several times actually. I also had a friend who got hit by an ambulance. His car got hit by an ambulance, and that prompted a conversation that I had with a EMS personnel. And I asked him, I said, well, what happens if an ambulance on the way to emergency creates another emergency? And he said the policy is that they continue until the one that they are on. And
Yeah,
so
then
if ambulance going to get somebody for whatever reason and they
hit somebody,
they continue, and then you have to call somebody else.
Yeah,
for that.
another ambulance would be dispatched to come deal with that.
Because about timing.
Yeah.
Remember the person you're going to done the accident already.
And done
So before you leave the hospital, so time is of the essence.
Yeah, not only that too. I think it's just a matter of first call, first serve too. You never know exactly what the situation is. In terms of the training of the EMS, I do believe that we have very well trained EMS personnel, based on what I've seen in limited interaction. And then the drivers, again, I've the ambulance come up in my yard already and turn. And that ain't an easy feat. Because I remember I had to call the ambulance for a situation that was happening at my home. And I was wondering, well, what are they going to do?
What are they going to do when they reach?
What are they going to do when they reach?
Mhm.
And I see this man just move that ambulance like he driving a mini. Right? I was very impressed, actually. But yeah, I don't know, but I did have a friend who was an EMS personnel, and based on the training he would have received while here, he was able to then migrate and continue working in the as a EMS, whatever they be, specialist technician, whatever it is. So he must have received some training here that would have been internationally recognized. So
somebody messaged me and I have a gear to grind, and they want us to talk about the KFC drive-through obstructing traffic. So your Bird Rock trip becomes a Bird Rock road trip.
I know when they put the lights are gonna be worse.
bye.
That's what I said, because
when the light turn green, they turn right,
and there's no way, there's no way to turn. So then
Boy.
traffic can just sit there. I feel
there
like
needs
something
to be a
definitely.
shoulder.
Exactly, there needs to
created
be
for
an
KFC.
additional lane for KFC drive-through, and I want to say that if you cannot fit in the shoulder that could possibly be created,
Make a circle.
make a circle.
You know what? But
Like
hold on.
You can't just sit in the road.
Are they taking walk-ins at that location?
Not at that location, I don't think so.
So I think
Not yet, they will though.
They
yeah,
will,
I
but
think
I
that
think
will
because
help
of-
tremendously. I think once we start seeing, because what's gonna happen is, oh, the drive through full, let me go in the line. I think that in itself,
Because that's how I operate, and if
yeah,
I
I
go
think that will
anywhere,
help a lot.
and
If they open up to allow
Right.
walk-ins.
it'll cut down. I want to believe it'll cut down like
Oh yeah,
60% of the road traffic.
big time.
But then the thing is to remember, the drive-through also has 2 lanes, but only one of the lanes are open.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2-lane. Is a the. So when you come off the road and you're now on the KFC parking lot property, it's an actual 2-lane road that feeds into a 2-lane.
Oh, so there's 2 windows.
Yeah, there's 2 windows. So no, 1 pickup
Two
window,
intercoms.
but 2 intercoms.
Okay. Well,
So,
yeah. Usually that's how.
You
it
know,
is.
there's a line to wait in each. So possibly the road traffic could be sliced in half, but only one of the windows are open. But then
Mhm.
that still, doesn't
Yeah.
excuse the fact that if the 2 of them are open, more people gonna show up because they think the line shorter. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's still gonna spill over
but I
into
mean,
the street.
faster facilitation too.
Faster
I mean,
for sure, but I
yeah.
feel like it's still gonna spill over into the streets. So something still needs to be done about that.
Either way.
A shoulder, or
Bye.
I don't know, but the venue is a dining drive-through location, but because of COVID, they're really utilizing the drive-through. But
yeah.
Well, in KFC defense, what I understand is, and this is from a reliable source, a shoulder was requested before the building was constructed, and it was denied by whomever. So,
Possible lack of foresight.
possible lack of foresight on behalf of whoever is responsible for that. But they did inquire about it, and they were told. Not time, say. But apparently we have a phone call. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning again.
Mhm.
In defense of the ambulance drivers, either they are trained or they have particular natural driving skills, right? If you've never driven in an ambulance, it should be on your bucket list, I think, right? Not as a patient, but, in front. I had that experience 2 years ago, and boy, it was a rush. I mean, that driver made a 15-minute drive to the hospital in about 4 minutes flat, including driving through town and maneuvering around the guts. And when you're having a heart attack or a stroke, the minutes saved can make all the difference. So I would say kudos to them. I suspect they are trained in at least basic driving skills, but You know, definitely, you know, it was heartwarming. I had to compliment the driver. It was really heartwarming to see how he did it. With regards to the F.T. Williams Highway, I think it's wide enough to have, like, I think they call them fire lanes in other places. Maybe that's one of the ways to go. There aren't too many, our roads are much too narrow, I think, to allow that in other places. But certainly, the F.T. Williams Highway can accommodate that. Okay, then.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Well, yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. But I won't put my head on a block, but I want to believe that the EMS personnel have already done their calculations and know what route contains what risks and how that affects time. That's their job.
Yeah.
To get to the person as fast as possible. So
yeah,
if they keep going downtown, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe it's for a reason. But we have another caller. Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning again.
Morning.
Before KFC was built, I think there was some kind of consideration, at least I mentioned it on traffic, one of the traffic programs there, to do a mini bypass along the Bay Road from maybe, what do they call it, Island Gases, up to...
Oh yeah, people have been talking about
up there by the, I think, the Coast Guard area.
Where's Island Gases?
That's the main area.
just across from, just before you get to the fisheries, if you're coming from...
Oh, okay,
Behind
So there's a little road. So you're talking about that little road
The behind the complex?
Yeah,
Right.
just extended right up to the Bird Rock Road. Somehow, I don't know if land and acquisition and all that will have to take
Okay,
it.
I get it.
It's a delta bulk thing there. But I think it will help to deal with the KFC issue if the road isn't wide enough to have a 3-lane thing, kind of thing like by Ram. Because in peak periods, like weekends or maybe carnival time when it comes up and so, you're going to have a serious issue, especially when the lights go down, with people going to that drive-through. And it isn't very far from the junction there by Rams and, what do you call it, Best Buy and TDC. So, all things considered, when you have a backlog there, the light changes. I don't know how that's going to look. But y'all are quite right. It's a potential big traffic issue.
I mean,
kind of issue there, even though the lights are going down.
Yeah, I mean, you said potential, but it's already a traffic issue because you know.
It's already, because you can't get from say Frigate Bay to Bird Rock if cars are coming down from Bird Rock and you want to go into Bird Rock.
Right.
Yeah, man, that happened to me recently too.
Yeah.
I was stuck behind the KFC line for quite some time.
And most people
You
say
were
that.
in the line to go to KFC. No?
Most people.
No, I wasn't in the line to go to KFC, but I was in the line to go to KFC.
Yeah, you get stuck in the line because you know
can't pass.
you can't pass,
You can't
and then
pass.
sometimes
You can't
the
come
length
in
of the waiting cars is too long to attempt the overtake with oncoming
You
traffic.
don't know who waiting from who ain't waiting.
Right.
And a couple times I was actually going to Boardwalk and change my mind.
No, I
see the line
got
and
the
say,
Almonds. I got your Almonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a advocate for the traffic lights because I think it was a bit too small for it. And unless it's a totally integrated computerized network, you can always have a backlog. We see it down Church Street. If there's a block there, it affects the block up Victoria Road, along Keon Street, all over. So unless you have, there are too many junctions. However, they're there, so we're working with it.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, if you have a real heavy period, I mean, do you just shut down the lights and let a manual officer take over? Or
Yeah,
what?
flashing
Because I've
red.
seen it in funerals too, eh?
Yeah.
Somebody just steady and direct, and the traffic lights, you just pull them out of circulation.
But
That usually happens when the problem done there for however long. Yeah.
But not just that happens sometimes downtown as well. I've seen
Every
the traffic lights working.
Yeah, Friday.
And the
Friday.
police actually
Friday,
take
bro.
control and thing at the lights.
Every Friday.
Yeah.
But then there's you could see there's a communication issue because down my Social Security KFC area,
Oh,
the
boy.
bottom of 3rd Street. You know, there's always a gridlock there. And
Always.
unless they're communicating with each other, you know, you have a problem. Okay, send the traffic to the circus. Okay, send the traffic down College Street Gut, you know. There's no communication there, so you're just looking and seeing and hoping.
And it's
so
always, and it's almost always a result of somebody farming the food in the circus. I could tell you
Well,
that.
that will always happen, you know. You don't
I
see
could
all the
tell
people
you that.
walk. You don't see all the people walk across there. I ain't gonna hit nobody.
Not just
trying
that,
to get from
but
there.
drivers as well. People want to stop to buy coconut on the side of the road.
Yeah. Those
Right there on the corner by the National Bank ATM. Our taxi driver want to reverse into his spot, but he can't really reverse into the spot, so he just there in the circus, turn sideways, trying to reverse into the spot. So the traffic is blocked up all across Liverpool and up Church Street.
I've seen that for
Coming up, they got-
quite
Because
regularly.
between-
And down they got.
Yeah, because
Down
between the bottom of Church Street and top of 4th Street, there are no stop
I
signs.
don't know how
Right.
roads
So
are
why is there
getting
gridlock?
Roads look like should be at every corner.
Because 4th Street is now a craft market.
There's no crowd market,
Yeah.
and then it used to be a
Back
just
up
store.
one way, and then people gonna, stick within the rules, and then you see her somewhere else walking. But really, for KFC's problem or potential problem, I think a bypass there from the fisheries, go up to Bird Rock, might help. It might not solve the problem, but that might even help people coming from Bird Rock into town instead of going through
I've used that road
the junction.
several times to get out of traffic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right then.
But something interesting came out of this of this caller's latter part of the conversation, and that's the fact that 4th Street is now a craft market.
Bro, you have to walk in the road.
A woman
So-
like basically threw me in the road the other day. I was walking through town. I ain't gonna say weird because then she don't know who she be. But she have a whole table set up on the sidewalk, and the table taking up 80% of the sidewalk, so you got to shimmy past the table. She then was shimmying past the table and bump into me, which then threw me out in the road, which then also made me almost get hit. Why are people putting Rubbermaid tables, which are big tables, on the small sidewalks we have in town?
Yeah,
You are obstructing foot
to walk.
traffic.
You have to walk in the streets now.
And then that's the issue. We fussing and complaining that people are walking in the streets because they just, you got to drive so carefully through town because people just popping out on the street, but they don't have a choice. Before, it just used to be people blindly walking across the street, but now people don't have a choice anymore because they have to step into the road to get where they're going. Because the entire sidewalk is just vendors, and nobody is fussing that vendors exist. We love the vendors. They sell some awesome stuff. Some of them sell some great breakfasts. Some of them sell some great, jewelry, all sorts of stuff that people actually are interested in. But you cannot block up the streets. There's an entire empty craft market sitting there, deteriorating when it could be in use.
Bro,
Thing is,
and this is something that we've battled against in St Kitts for how long now, boy? Like, there was times when the government would have made efforts to relocate vendors to the craft market or wherever, only to be met by severe public outrage.
yeah, the craft market is poorly placed. Like,
Yeah.
like it. But what I've always advocated for is turning our Independence Square into such craft market, but it has to be managed properly.
Yeah.
I would love to go into this Independence Square, and there are picnic tables around the square, inside the square, and on the outskirts of the square. You have your vendors, and you have your go and almost like a regular park with the little food stalls
Yeah,
and so,
there's
and
food
the thing and
stalls.
so, and you go to the park and you order your food, sit on the bench, and you have lunch, and restrict all food vendors to inside the square. Issues will come with that, like garbage, etc. But that will have to be addressed as well. It's a multi-pronged approach that would have to.
I feel like
that would
there
have to address
are
that. But
many.
I think the square is perfect. We got a lot of shade, big trees. It's perfect.
I say it
I
all
don't
the
know.
time. I don't feel.
I still feel like like Port Zante might have been a better place for that kind of thing. And because then the kind of traffic that you're gonna have there too, gonna have the same ripple effects that we just were talking about.
We're on Port Zante. We're on Port Zante.
One of the wings. One of the side. Like on the eastern side, for instance, the parking lots.
East.
So like in front of the sands here, like that stretch going up.
You know, I feel like
but that land is already allocated to Hotel and
I feel like what would be a nice place too is, you know, right behind the old Treasury building, that giant circular empty plaza would be a nice setup to, you know, create a grid. But then not only that, on the left side of said, well, if you're walking through the old Treasury building, on the left side of that open circular plaza is a bunch of vendor stalls empty.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, maybe this square might not be the best option because, you know, we're going to have the historians saying we damaged it. But what I feel is like during the December time, we cannot be having vendors building shacks on the side of the street. Because the shacks spill over into the road. So for people to walk on the sidewalk, they literally have to be in the center of the road to get back on the other side of the sidewalk. And we have people meandering in and out of the streets trying to walk them. What I feel like should be allowed is one quadrant of the square should be allocated and marked out for vendors to set up for the season, which is like a 2. Because they set up for like what? It's like 2-3 weeks? Because it's like 2 weeks, before they could, like what?
About 3 weeks.
Like the 16th to the 2nd. Kind of thing.
Allow
them to create a grid in one of the quadrants of the square. Send them, you know, allow them to go and set up in the square. That way everybody know where to find something. You're hungry, head to the square. All your options in one place. You need something to drink, head there. And then, you know, have them pay a fee, you know, and all that stuff.
I think that's how it should be permanently.
I
really
I feel like, you know, that's a great option because then you control the trash, you control all these things. You have somebody, you know, again, they have to pay a fee, they have to pay a retainer, you know, in case they leave the stall all trashy and messed up. Then, you know, the cleaning fee is then confiscated to deal with the trash left behind. But I don't feel like we should be having vendors set up in the streets. Maybe that was great once upon a time when we had, like, you know, 10 cars in St Kitts, but we have basically a car for every person in the population. We can't have streets block up like that, especially during the busiest time of the year. It makes sense because that's where the most foot traffic does be, like during the Juve and the parades and so. But come on, send it to this square.
Everybody is trying to get some kind of location-based advantage, and that's what's driving.
And that's where the craft market doesn't work.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Because if people are forced to leave their office space on Central Street
to head all the way to the vendors market, they just go in thing instead. Yeah.
Working and then please then so.
And that's why I feel like the square is a great temporary option for, you know, seasonal events. But this is really getting out of hand because I feel like every time I step in town, there's a new table to dodge.
Yeah.
It's
a new trunk open somewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Nobody is knocking anybody's hustle. We love that you find in some way to create some income, but at the same time, you are really like creating havoc in town when it comes to road and foot traffic.
Town just the depressing.
Town is a mess.
Boss, I'm sorry, but it'll feel really funny when you walk off Port Zante and cross the Bay Road and start coming up Fort Street. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
And you know, in the US, you talk about the other side of the tracks, or the other side of the Bay Road.
Well. You know, I feel that's the old town. Port Zante is brand new.
No. But old doesn't mean disorganized and dirty, sir. As a matter of fact, you can't, like, there are places that are older than the entire anything that we see now that people go to and look at.
You find town to be dirty?
If I feel town to be dirty?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Well, so here's my thing, and
I don't find town to be a dirty place.
There's not even a place for you to throw trash in town.
And then the trash receptacles that exist are
like, so
two of them are rampacked till the busing open. Like they have some, like one in the square as soon as you enter the square from Central Street by National Bank.
Right by the phone booth.
Right by the phone booth, always busting with trash. You can't even, like, it's never emptied.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't find we have a dirty town though. I don't think so.
Boss.
There's garbage in certain places, yes, as a result of eating and things, but I don't.
Boss.
To class town as dirty, I don't think so.
Boss, the drains need cleaning. There's several places in town that are notorious for the stench.
Mm-hmm. And then
what are you saying?
Foot traffic to, Kittitians are just notorious litterers. They think that because something is natural means that it can be tossed on the ground, like the shells from nuts.
Oh, don't bother talk about that. Yeah.
Yes, it's biodegradable. Yes, it comes from the earth, but that don't mean throw it in the street. Because if that's the case, shell your nuts on your bed and leave them there.
I mean, I don't know how to be walking in by.
And then, I'm not saying all the time,
but what I'm saying literally giving you, I'm literally giving you the examples about. You're trying to tell me what I'm saying is not true. The drain them dirty, king. The drain them dirty, the place smell bad.
But tongue though, there's certain places in tongue, yes.
But if it's certain parts in tongue, ain't tongue.
But no, and you can't say
town
is
this,
and you feel like you're in a dirty place.
Town is disorganized. Town is
disorganized, yes, but dirty no.
What do you mean? You gotta be crazy. The trash ain't empty. There's nowhere to put the trash. The trash end up on the ground, Amali.
That yes. Need addressing in terms of trash disposal. But to say when you're going to you feel like in a dirty place, I don't feel so.
It's not dirty.
But maybe I just got different level. Maybe I just got different level standard then.
It's possible.
I also
maybe
think
got different standard.
I also think that
but if people come to St Kitts, they say Azem, they say it's a clean place.
I also think the town is
main thing St Kitts is New York City. You understand? But you can't tell me, bro. There's places people avoid walking because of the stench. You're walking in the road because people got trash on the side of the road. Wait, telling me, like this is like maybe I'm imagining it. I don't know.
No, me say imagining it, and I'm not disagreeing that there are problem areas. For example, Rosemary Lane, filthy.
Okay, but that's the center of town, but
Rosemary Lane is not town.
Boss, see, that's where we disagree. You can't tell me
it is in town, but
you can't tell me 4th Street is disorganized, Rosemary dirty, and then tell me I'm wrong for saying town dirty.
Disorganized in what way?
I mean, we just talk about the fact that people got to walk in the road because things all on the side. There are people building up shack on the sidewalk.
You and my definition of dirty is two different things. Because when I think dirty, I thinking about bad sense and stench and garbage and things and so. But that's only in certain areas. That in town in general.
One area?
No, more than 1 area.
3, 4, 5, 6.
In town in general. When I walk up 4th Street, I don't feel like in a dirty place.
Okay, so 4th Street is town.
It's part of the center of town. When I walk across
Central Street, I don't feel like
in a dirty place.
Where Rosemary be?
That is one small street in town.
Where Central Street be in Cross BC? Where that be?
It's in town.
So I don't understand what you're saying then.
So we on Central Street is filthy.
Bro, when you're coming across right off 4th Street, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not because
you mean on the left side by Ojakat?
Boss, that area there, what has happened is because there's so many food stalls, right? And there's nowhere to dispose of the trash. Mm-hmm. Where the trash that end up on the ground.
And
every day.
You have
the
food.
Look, you can't tell. Look, hold on. You can't tell me that we know St Kitts people got a habit of throwing things on the ground. Mm-hmm. Or just disposing of things. You can't then tell me that there's a bunch of food stalls all through town. You can't tell me that there's nowhere to throw the trash but tongue ain't dirty. Like what you saying? Like where the trash going? The trash that end up right on the ground me buy every day. Every day. There's tons of food stalls. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to throw the trash. And we know nobody walking with the trash in the hand. So where you think the trash will go? The trash will go right on the ground. We talk about this all the time. Every day is the same thing. Yeah. Every day.
I understand that. And like I said, I'm not saying that there aren't problem areas. But generally speaking, I really disagree that tongue is a dirty place. Like, man.
Elmina, we got different standards.
I guess so.
Because
different definition of what dirty is.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe different standards.
I really don't get that feeling when I go downtown. The other city trash, yes. And the areas you're speaking about, definitely. Especially Rosemary Lane and on the corner there, for sure. But
that's the center town for me, yeah.
Well,
that's the center town for me, bye. We tell you talk about walking across Kevon Street. I tell you talk about the need to move the prison out of the center town.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, bro, too many places, King. The drain them need cleaning. We have people calling in here weekly talking about the drain them in town. They just need cleaning. Marcy. Like, you know.
I guess because in my brain, I just like what you said, I picture in New York or some of the things that you really
like
walking
that.
and trash.
No, that's different.
No. That's a different thing. That's infestation.
And then I
and a
also feel
biohazard.
like, you know, saying it has an issue.
Cesspool.
It's a different thing. Like, you know, when we said dirty way and mean piles of trash and
Yeah.
you know, these subways that just have the tracks are trash. We ain't talking like that, but it's just like there's a lot of that St Kitts could fix when it comes to
and that's
the dealing of trash in town.
And based on the fact that this conversation came out of my acknowledgement of the difference in the feel when you move from Port Zante to 4th Street, right, and move upwards. And I don't believe the fact that it's old means that I should get that same feeling. I don't agree with that. I've been to several cities that are hundreds and thousands of years old, and I go there and that is not the feeling I get, and it's because there's a concerted effort to preserve certain things and to give a certain vibe, a certain feel. It's conscious, and the people there buy into it. We don't have that here. That is why people just get up on there and set up wherever they want to set up. Put things anywhere they want to put.
Like an organization.
Yes.
Nobody tell them gonna where. Nobody's gonna tell you move. And then if somebody tell you move today and you go back tomorrow and nobody gonna tell you move again. There's no consequence to going back to where you're told not to set up.
So, I've been to cities in Europe, they're hundreds and thousands of years old. It don't feel so. So don't tell me age is a reason for it. Like, it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah,
it's because
when I was talking about age, I was talking about how it looks physically.
But that's what I'm talking about that too. By talking about that too, how it looks. It's the whole thing, the whole vibe. Once you pass the Bear Road and cross over, it's different. And different, not in a good way. Not in a good way. Different ain't bad. But that's what we're talking about here.
So what can be done to downtown to change that in terms of the optics?
Well, I mean,
for starters, we moved
because you know there was a beautify Bastille project, right? I don't know what happened with that, but anyway, go ahead. What am I saying?
But you know, for starters, the vendors need to go. They're not clear because remember, once upon a time, 4th Street sidewalks were much smaller. Remember, they had to take a time. What it was like 2008 or something like that, 2008, 2000 something. They
do over the sidewalks?
Remember they did over the sidewalks and put all of the the wires underground on 4th Street. I don't remember what year that was, but they did that, and they also widened the sidewalk in the process. So imagine the sidewalks were widened and they're still small.
This is one thing you need, remember, it's coming down to one thing. You just need vision. There needs to be a vision for what Bastille should be.
I agree.
I talked to somebody about the proposition of making 4th Street a foot road. Some people might argue that it's not feasible, but some people might. But
at least the top of 4th Street.
I feel like maybe from the circus to the top of 4th Street should be bad off. They could cobblestone it, cover the sidewalks, and make it a foot road. That way, then the vendors could set up in the center of the foot road, and then there's walking space on either side. Like a lot of countries that actually do that. But we have a call, so caller, good morning.
Good morning, Megan. Yeah, I'm happy that you came in with that suggestion the last day because I called. Listen, what we see happening in the capital town, this has nothing to do with the vendors per se, This is just highlighting a deeper problem that no one wants to address. Without going into much details, I always talk about a national plan when it comes to certain things. The country cannot be said to be developing and its people are left behind. When an economy is facing a downturn, one of the first things that you will see happening is that there are many people who are going to be out in the streets hawking wares, whether selling food, drink, clothes, whatever. Okay? They have to live. And in terms of the public market, many persons who are older than you will tell you, when they were little boys, persons have always been on the outside selling their vegetables. Right down the area where you used to be selling the fish. Across there used to be packed with vegetable vendors, fruits and vegetable vendors until some people complain and say they cannot pass through and so on, and I think they relocate them in the market and so on, and they come back out. something is wrong. Something needs to be fixed. A lot of our politicians, okay, some of them behave like they don't visit anywhere. And I know our politicians, past, present, in this federation, have traveled almost everywhere. Maybe the only two places out is the North and the South Pole. Maybe they haven't been there yet. But almost everywhere they have been. And they see how, how economies are in these different countries. A lot of them go and they see these street vendors and all of that. But they are organizations. Because these street vendors, they have rights to, and they have the right to go and, as they say, make a living for themselves. So we're going to stay here, we're going to complain. Let me tell you, it's not going to be easy to get them off the street. You cannot tell them they're going to be relocated to the market. It's not going to happen. This is an age-old, long something now. Something new and modern have to come up. Even here in the Caribbean, you go to some of these places, and look the place where they have the vendors. You have, real nice built structure where people go in, everything you can get under one roof, your craft, your cooking, whatever, in a pleasant, attractive, place where persons actually willing to go there to spend money. What do we have here? So we are going to sit here, we're going to talk about going down the market. Going down the market, in the vegetable market, for what? For what? Something needs to be done to that? Or there must be a new location. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. And a lot of things are done haphazardly, and it's not about bringing down the hammer on people's head when people have to do what they have to do. And finally, before I go, yes, I can tell you some of these people, they are very inconsiderate in terms of vendors. The attitude and the mindset towards one another is not nice. Mm-hmm. It's a run race, grudge race, this, that, and whatsoever. Some persons, they take the garbage and they dump it in somebody else's area, and you have a whole heap of problems because some people feel like they are the untouchable, so to speak, and nobody can tell them anything. Nobody can say anything to them. Not even the authorities can do anything to some of them. Okay? But that aside, something needs to be done if they really want to see the streets better organized. But for sure, nobody can convince anybody here that in a lot of these other countries they don't have vendors on the street, because we know they do exist, because we see them wherever we go. I'll continue to listen.
All right, thank you, Carl.
Yeah, what do you say about Big Dog?
We'll take a break and we'll come back with more Island Tea on WINNmedia SKN. We'll be right back.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equaline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equaline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equaline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Whenever dark is falling, you know the Give me the night. Give me the key action. A place to dine, a glass of wine, a little late romance. So chain reaction. We'll see the people of the world coming out to dance. Cause there's music in the air and lots of loving everywhere. So give me the night. Give me the night. So come on out tonight and we'll leave the others on a ride to paradise. And if you feel alright, then we can be lovers. Cause I see that starlight look in your eyes. And don't you know we can fly? Just give me
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves. Yeah, music sweet boy, but we're back. Do we even get to an article? Because I feel like conversation sweet.
Might as well, why not?
Let's take some. Yeah, we'll take some calls.
Yeah, man. Let them use.
So let's call us. We have a lot of calls, so try to make it very short so we could get to all the others because we don't want to have everyone waiting. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevon, and good morning, Amali.
Good morning. Good morning.
Kevon, yes. And good morning to the young lady there. Now, I born in the 60s. And as a young man living in the country, as a young man coming to town, my father used to work ground, plant food, plant provision.
Mm-hmm.
And we bring provision to the market to sell. And every time we go to the market, we go to the vendors them in the market go sell our provision.
Mm-hmm.
And the vendors them sell the provision from the market. The market used to be full.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't saying that the market ain't one upgrade. But I do not believe that now things are so modern and we population getting bigger. And Bastia is a very small area.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're walking in Bastia, you got to walk partly in the middle of the road. When you're walking something way tongue like going over Port Zante, you got to walk partly in the middle of the road. Because people they're doing the business right on the road, to the side of the road. I do not think that poorness or this nothing to do with it. We ain't living in a poverty country. And I do not believe nobody's supposed to break the law. And, you know, it's come like they're deliberately doing these things. If they see one go there, and next vendor go there. They see one go there, and the next vendor go there. It is time now that the authorities who in charge of the traffic and whatever look into the other these vendors. Look going up 4th Street. It's terrible going up there.
Why?
They cannot get a pass. You understand? And it don't have nothing to do with no poor nothing. Because in my time way back, in the market, my father used to carry the cattle them, the butcher, and everything. Something we butcher in the country, and we kept bringing the meat to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And people will come around and buy the meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we used to go sometimes. But tongue wasn't like that. No load of vendors was around tongue. And I believe in them time we had more vendors because it's just the way the people that got to live their life and feed the children and clothe the children them to do vending.
Yeah.
And it was in the market there was. And everybody used to get a food sale. All right then.
Yeah, I think
People
that's
selling wig and so?
Excuse me?
People are the ones selling wig and so on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Perfume and
shoes
thing.
and so, yeah.
Different types of vendors. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
We lost that caller. But like the caller was saying, you know, honestly, if you go where the service, if you wherever you're located, people will go to it for the service. So the vendor market is not a bad idea. You know, if people really want something, they will go and get it. Town is walkable. Town don't span that far, so it's not impossible. But you know,
We have another caller.
we have another caller in line. Caller, good morning.
Yes, George Benson, I think it was, told
Yes.
in 1980 music is the best.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, that the one you played before, Give Me the Night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the things that can make a difference is in Bastia is that businesses move out of Bastia proper to the suburbs. Bastia High School should be the new site for, let's say, government headquarters. the other businesses should follow the example of Harspers and TDC and Deal Walwyn and relocate much of their business operations outside of Bastille on the outskirts. In addition
It's only going to
to
be
that,
one thing,
if businesses
An extension
encourage
of January
more
village.
e-business and not just tell people to pay their bills and so on
That's what you want
online,
done?
but give people a discount for doing it. Because after all, it's supposed to lower your business operating costs. So, encourage more use of it, and the lights will not improve traffic flow in Bastille because the problem is congestion, too many cars in our intersections, right? That's why police have to step in. You saw it again during the Christmas time. You have to step in and direct traffic, even though you have the lights. Our blocks are much too small to accommodate lights. I remember making the point that roundabouts are better at improving traffic flow than stoplights. And the policeman on traffic talk did not agree with me, but yet we see other countries choosing them instead of traffic lights. You look, St. Martin, Aruba, other places, because of the ease in maintenance, and they work.
For sure.
They actually work. So those are things that can be done immediately to, I think, improve Bastille, certainly in terms of the congestion. And I like the idea about making 4th Street just walking space. Put a canopy over it, like what they've done overseas. Just put a canopy over the whole street and make that a thoroughfare just for pedestrians and accommodate all the vendors, etc. Okay then.
I find very interesting about this. The points being made about, maybe having 4th Street block off and vendors or whatever. Well, nobody does suggest that they're about Port Zante. Like putting the vendors in the walkway there.
Which one?
Think about it.
in the center,
Like in the center where people are walking now.
walking
Because there's no
towards
traffic there already.
Going down to Cheers,
Yeah, so like all in...
Because remember, I think that's divided by like palm trees or something?
palm trees and benches.
Palm trees and benches.
It's just as wide as the street.
Yeah, that too. It's literally just
The
as wide as
reason
street.
is, for some, like, it's just because the look of it, the whole
Aesthetic
idea of
trend.
it,
It needs to be done properly.
but
And
I
that
don't
goes
think
back
it.
to city planning.
But I'm saying it, I don't even think it would happen. I don't even think people would suggest it, and it's because of the impression we have of 4th Street and whatever, and the impression we have of Port Zante is two different things.
Port Zante, bougie, and 4th Street, passa.
Right. So the passa place now, you could go and put people in the street and whatever. And don't study about the people who actually have their businesses on the road already. The people paying rent and
Not
things.
just that. Port Zante is run independently.
Well, no, I'm just talking about just people making suggestions about what we do.
because-
People ain't
because
thinking that
they
way.
don't see that fitting in Port Zante
Right.
because of the optics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I agree. It
Yeah,
doesn't
so-
fit.
And I think that's that's important to recognize.
But I believe that for example the suggestion Kevon made about using part of or the whole of Independence Square, I don't think it should just be you could come and put a table in the square.
No,
I
you
think there needs to
apply.
be infrastructure.
You apply for a space, and you purchase the space, and
Yeah.
or rent the space, lease the space,
And it look nice.
and it's a nice setup. Like there are places where we could do it. We also have a lot of abandoned buildings in St Kitts.
And if there's no more space, and if you can't afford what the government charges, I don't know if they're going to charge, whatever, right? Then you can't afford downtown, period. Go on the bypass. Because at the end of the day, like what the cars mentioned, our population is increasing, the number of cars are increasing. It's becoming too congested. Something needs to be done. We have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning, team.
Morning.
We must start to hope the powers that be are listening. I think
There is
Bastille has been outgrown. We need to start to develop a new city. I think even the PW at Port Zante, I think if they pour on the next 20 million and that, they could have built another Port Zante somewhere around by Whitegate or something and develop a new city. Bastille was designed for 10 cars and horse cart and donkey cart, and right now we have 10,000 cars. So we need to start developing a new city. I mean, we have everything in Bastille. We can't use them properly. The cricket pitch, Kim Collins Stadium, everything got a parking problem, you know.
That's true, you know, because when there are
you just
sporting
feel
events in the park, town is harder.
Because we have so much cane fields.
People park Port Zante and walk to the park.
Yeah.
People park at Wellington Road.
Even they spent $31 million on Old Road there. I thought they would have designed it like down like the fisheries and put some bars further out.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, even the tourists them could stop out there and have a drink.
I think that's the intention. I heard through some means that's the intention to actually make down there a second strip.
But you ain't seen this space for it.
No, mate.
I think definitely we need to start developing another city or another part of the island and just leave Bastia as it is, as an old town, and just leave it later.
Interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's one of the points that's been made, because you look at places like Anguilla where things are just so decentralized. Like,
yeah,
everything all over the place.
Everything is all over, yeah.
Yeah,
but a lot of commuting.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I think it's important that we recognize that town has been expanding. I think, as far as I am concerned, town now extends all the way to camps, as far as I'm concerned. Between supermarkets, between the food court, between the gas station, town has been expanding, especially to the west, for some time.
And there's actually a strip mall being built down Lemke Road too.
Right, not to mention one being built in Connery. So even to the east, town has been expanding. I think what needs to happen as well is that we cannot forget the communities that are adjacent to town. And I do think that some of these communities have been neglected, specifically Irish Town and Newtown. I think we have to be mindful of that. I know there was some talk about that in the previous election cycle, but it's necessary for us to recognize that, like the caller said, we've outgrown Bastia, what traditionally is known as Bastia. In terms of the look of it, last night I would have had a conversation about the change in aesthetic, specifically around the square. Where we're talking about the pictures of how North Square Street used to look. It used to look like an avenue with palm trees on either side of the road going across these pictures. North Square Street, the other Basset Art Gallery is
okay.
top of the square.
Yeah, it was a little bit disoriented for us.
Yeah, but and how the square used to look, as with full greenery. One of the things that is very interesting to me when I look at town, for instance, you go up Bird Rock and you go up on the top, like where you could look over on one side to see Frigate Bay and the other side to see town, right? And you could name the trees, There's very few green spaces in Bastia. You have the square, then you have pretty much like
the palm trees on Port Zante.
The palm trees on Port Zante. You have Miss Wall Yard. It's like that kind of thing. Like you could literally like say, "Oh, that's Miss Wall Yard."
And that's Bastia School, but the office.
Yes, there's very few green spaces now, and I think we need to really, again, it all comes down to vision and the will to implement the vision. It ain't just happen. Like there must be some kind of vision that we're working towards.
There are people that spend years doing this, and it's called urban planning. And people study urban planning, making cities make sense, and how to decongest cities and all these sort of things. And I'm pretty sure we have people, locals, that
we have a planning unit
who are not being given the freedom to actually.
And Amali's response is usually response when you mention the planning unit,
right? But these people need to be allowed, because it all starts with a proposal. Allow them to get creative and propose something that might seem, a bit extreme. And then you scale back, you take pieces from this plan, you take pieces from that and make things make sense. But then, it's just always...
Will is what's necessary.
That's the part that's missing.
When you go to like station, Sabre, right? It is legislated that everybody got red roof, eh?
Yeah, all these things, the
colors of the homes. Beautiful.
There's community HOAs that you basically have the authority to dictate what the community looks like. All houses in this area have to have white roofs or red roofs, blue roofs or this roof. no pretty color things, and every house just look like a bag of Skittles, and it's just like, a rainbow in the whole. So, everything is coordinated and makes sense, and you enter this area and everything look uniformed and nice, and the roads are clean, but in St. Kitts it's just like, just do what you want.
When I was in school, right?
Lack of political will, that's all it is.
I was part of the student union, and I sat on the planning committee for the university. And the kind of thought that goes into simple things, right? As little as just adding an extension onto an existing building on the property. That takes months and months of conversation, and the conversation is centered around how will this impact the community?
Yeah.
How will this look driving down the street? Right?
Is this angle beautiful?
Yeah.
Is it too tall so it blocks other things?
All these things that take into consideration ain't just what we want to label, so I'm going to label next week.
And then the thing is too, will these big glass windows we want reflect on other properties that we don't that don't want
not just
reflection?
That.
It's all
not just
these
that,
things.
Not just that. When the first plans are drawn, there are actually community consultations with people who live in the community.
Yeah, to see how they feel about it.
Yep.
And the extension to the building, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if the community is about that's unsightly. This back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of consideration that goes into planning that I doubt happens here. We have a caller. Good morning, welcome.
Lord, call back.
That's a play with emotion.
And then what else is a bit annoying too is that places are
back.
I think the caller's back. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You are saying some interesting things here, and I just born last week. I usually always intermingle with older people than myself. And like my father went through it and others. And they tell me something, the same thing. Something like what you are saying. The aesthetics of the buildings and so, curious or Aruba. But that come down from the Dutch colonialism, that you had to do everything in order.
Mm-hmm.
I was even told, and when you on Front Street in Willemstad, that's Curacao capital, around just Aruba. You can't have an old house and them thing here. You've got to keep them in order.
Got to.
And in some cases, the government will give you paint and so,
Yes. Or subsidize.
I know of a place I used to go there in the States called oh Lord, I can't remember. Anyway, no, not Lauderdale.
Oh.
It's a small city, but they got a lot of recycled paint and so. You see, we can't do certain things in St Kitts and Nevis, in much of the Caribbean island because of the sheer size, the smallness. And
totally disagree.
Eh?
Let me hear you going with this.
What you say? Totally disagree?
Yeah, usually I find that's excuses, but let me hear what you say first.
Oh, you're smart. You're smart. And I cut off your head.
So look how we got to call security to wait for us outside now.
I remember a couple of times when I was up there. You could have go, then put up a notice on radio and TV and so, and you could have go there and get 5 gallons of whatever color paint they have available and you need. And you touch up the place. They tell you recycle paint, so it's up to you. And keep the place beautified. The aesthetics look so good. You're talking about the color of roofs and so forth. That's a wonderful thing. When you fly over Bastia look rusty, Bastia look rusty. I always complain. When you're coming from Nevis again, you see them rusty looking building in there by the waterfront. Now, in St. Thomas, if you go up a place they call Lookout, where tourists visit, it's a little touch of Brimson Hill. But nothing near to Brimson Hill. Brimson Hill is a fort. But when you look down on the Charlotte Armony, the capital, man, the roof them look so good. So good. And you can't, when you go up the place, you can't stay longer than a certain time period. You have to go, because there are people can tell you where time up. Because the traffic are bit fast when you see cruise ships, in particular, are in. And so forth. Though these are good things you are bringing up. Now, go back to you. You made an error with the 4th Street. 4th Street, the sidewalk didn't come no wider. Sometimes I know myself, they didn't come no wider. What happened when World Cup cricket was coming up? They went and do some renovations and so forth, because I remember we were supposed to host. In fact, we hosted a number of matches and semi-finals and so. And they spent amount of money, but in some of the cases, they made put the paving stone. Right now, they want to fix them. They're throwing you down when you're walking.
Yeah.
And some of them, the cover are too high. Crossed by TDC.
Yeah.
TDC, wherever they call it, by National Bank, the Central Street East. Them walls, they're too high. I don't know what we're in their mind. You see, we have a way like to scramble to do things. We wait till they to put into being when we got with plans and stuff. So you rush, you walk, and then you do a kind of hard work. So them stone there, up there in fix, up there, they're sinking. They're uneven. Let me put it that way. They're uneven.
Yes, yes.
So I myself, sometimes I get a little trippy in there, and then the sidewalks them in Bastia. All of them want fixing. They got, when the people them cut down these poles, the electricity and whoever, Skeleton, water entity. They cut off the poles, them, the metal poles, them, some of them the wooden poles, and they got a piece stick up above the surface. Now these are modern days. You could get an angle grinder. They got some big one, 8-inch one, 10-inch one, work with the 1 power. A normal one, a 7-inch one could do. And cut this thing, cut down in the concrete, and then paste over them, and you got a level. But I believe Libod had a plan to fix all these sidewalks, especially in the main tower phase. But these are things that audience, that where they got some grid there, like in the corner of 4th Street, Central Street and stuff, but they ain't done properly. There's some work like on weekend and stuff. They ain't done, and people could fall in them up to right now. They ain't fixed properly. What they need to do, around the angle, the corners, cover that with concrete slab to a certain point. And out there, flood here, they got a deep hole there. That needs some slab going on there, but the slab they must be removable for when they can clean the drain. I mean, I consider older people and handicapped people, eh?
Yes.
You could happen to young ones, but these are my things. I always look at them. Some people call me, say, we're talking, but it doesn't matter to me. That's how I am. I like to see things in order, aesthetic. You know, like sometimes somebody building a house, and the land is below the level of the road, and they can build a house, so they look so stupid. When they could bring the level of the house, the floor, maybe 2 block heights above the level of the road. And make the thing look so good.
Yeah.
But you see again, I'm going to the planning people, they are to blame, with a lot of these things. They don't enforce the laws, but they'll come and program and say all kind of things, and you ain't know what they said. They sit back. A lot of them will be drawing plans for people in government side. They ain't calling the name, but that's what they'll be doing. Making money in government side. Government got tighten up all around. Nobody says they can do something else, but not do have government and the public side. So, you all just start a little answers here, because even with the vendors, they ain't going that. But you all need to really go into them. And we could make our contribution. Because I got some things to say. Even when they got down there by Cool, where the water going to the sea, I have an idea that I learned from in Florida. Okay? And a number of other things around. So, I think you are doing a good job in the vein. But sadly, the public, some of them call in and talk some foolishness. Anyway, have a good day.
Tomorrow we could continue the conversation, but we will take a break right now, so thank you very much for your contribution.
All right, sir.
Have a good day. We'll pause for calls. We'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Clapping rhymes, the good food people. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from Ram. This Christmas at Ram Supermarket is free. This December, shop all Ram Supermarkets and take advantage of all the in-store specials and free giveaways. Celebrate Christmas with Rams, where you're guaranteed better prices, better quality, and better value for your money. Happy holidays from Rams, the good food people.
Terms and conditions apply. See in stores for details.
No, I got the people in one day, but we'll have listening to music.
I ain't gonna tell them.
Watermelon. Surfboard.
Juicy. We are back with Island Tea.
I'm gonna water.
With your faves, Kevon Amali. And we spent a lot of time talking about, some
randomness.
Some randomness that the
it's not random, they're community issues.
The nation experiences. But let's do a little article before we
because I ready to go home.
So let's just give some updates on what's been happening. So 2 things happened yesterday on the global scene. One is that Congress affirmed that Joe Biden's victory was legitimate and he is the next officially the next president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his swearing in happens on the 20th.
The 20th president-elect Joe
Biden. This month.
I thought it was February that happened.
No. The inauguration is always January. So in about 13 days, he will be sworn in as the president of the United States. However, what's also happening is that there's I can't remember who, but they are preparing documents to impeach Donald Trump. The reason for that is that if he's impeached again, or I think have an impeach pending, it bars him from running again in the upcoming elections, in the 2024 elections. And that's the purpose. They're trying to prepare documents to block him from being able to run again. Because whether the impeachment is successful or not, I think once it gets beyond a certain...
why that is even more important now is because of what would have happened yesterday.
Yes.
With the Georgia...
with the Georgia situation.
The Georgia race being won by the Democrats.
So that's
the government... the Democrats now control the White House, the House, and the Senate.
Which
so
is
if
crazy.
he's to get impeached now, well...
I'm trying to find the proper documents, but I probably won't find it because that's how.
Well, they will. Sorry, I guess Biden ain't in yet.
I'm really trying to find it. Just give me 2. Yes. So, U.S. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is preparing articles of impeachment against Donald Trump, and again, it is strict. Even though he's basically out the door in 2 weeks, it's basically for the purpose of barring him, blocking him from being able to run in the 2024 elections.
Yeah, because now there's even talk of people being discussing whether they should invoke the 25th Amendment and all these kind of things, which ain't gonna happen. In order for the 25th Amendment to go through, basically, you need the cooperation of the Vice President and the Cabinet.
And then on top of that, yesterday,
even though Pence has been a bad boy.
But not just that. So yesterday, President Donald Trump and his Vice President Mike Pence had a squabble. And
a little tiff.
It resulted in Mike Pence unfollowing him on Twitter.
Oh my God.
A brief moment.
Oh, this is so petty.
You follow him back? But there was a little squabble for a minute because, give me 2 seconds, let me find out. Because President Donald Trump said something about Mike Pence, basically put him under fire, and
Pence put out his statement. Pence put out his statement and said that he's going to do his job as is mandated by the Constitution and not give in to Trump's request for him to do otherwise. But yesterday was a very interesting day in American politics. There's a riot.
Well, yeah. So remember, a plethora of things. So
talk about it.
So one, Joe Biden was officially declared the winner of the presidential election, and he is now officially the next president of the United States. It's official, and most people don't see that because normally when the elections are done, the person concedes, and this process is quiet because nobody.
Formality.
It's just, it happens, but nobody needs to pay attention to it because But only because of this squabble with the current president, everybody's aware of all of this process that's
claims
happening.
Of fraud.
Then, 2, the Democrats control the U.S. Senate after Ossoff won Georgia. So that's the next thing. Then, we had the Trump and Pence squabble. But there was also the situation which sort of has been dominating the headlines is that the U.S. Capitol was locked down as Trump supporters attempted a coup. So let me.
But I mean, we're laughing, but people literally died yesterday.
Yeah, a woman was. Okay, I'll get back to that. But so the U.S. Capitol locked down on Wednesday with lawmakers inside as violent clashes broke out between supporters of President Donald Trump and the police. I don't even want to read no more, because here's what. When Black Lives Matter protesters were taken to the streets and
peacefully,
protesting the loss of life of many members of their black community, they were called looters, they were called thugs, they were called terrorists, they were called all sorts of names. But when the MAGA community, which is President Donald Trump's supporters, stormed, which means broke into the Capitol, illegally broke into the Capitol, steal property, broke into the offices of many members, including the Speaker of the House, stealing objects, they were not referred to as terrorists, they were referred to as Trump supporters.
And the thing about it that was very interesting to me about this display was the fact that these people didn't even bother to cover their face, and so they're very proud of
But then here's the thing too, we saw today that, a lot of them were wearing gear that said Civil War. It said Make America Great Again, Civil War, January 6, 2021. This was planned. They didn't just all show up and just start at the same. It was planned. This is a terrorist organization we're talking about. But the reason why none of this is going to happen, and the reason I said it, is because this is basically wordplay and controlling a narrative at work, because MAGA is a terrorist organization, whether we want to believe it or not. But labeling them as terrorists means that white people can now be terrorists.
Imagine that.
And if they are to call them terrorists, then if they are to actually actively refer to them as terrorists, then the narrative and stereotyping and the racism system that they built, calling Middle Eastern people terrorists, will be instantly dismantled, and then that argument will no longer be valid. So they have to avoid calling them terrorists at all costs, or it will basically make the system they create crumble.
Just a few good people exercising their First Amendment rights.
They're just proud boys. Proud boys stand back and stand by, and then fine citizens.
Yeah, I mean, I see yesterday as, like I was saying earlier, a foreshadowing, and I've said it here before, I say it all the time. Democracy as we know it is on its way out. It cannot continue this way. I'm not saying that I expect whatever comes next to come in my lifetime, either my kids or my grandkids' lifetime. But I do have my ideas about what democracy will morph into. But I think that is important. I think it's an important lesson for the rest of the world about what happens when the tribalism that tends to plague democratic societies supersedes just common sense and decency and the desire for good governance, the desire for peaceful transitions of power. I'll bring this home in this way here to St Kitts. Whether or not you support Team Unity, PAM, CCM, Labour, whatever it is, what I think came out of the last two elections in St Kitts is monumental, and I think as we go forward in time and historians look back at these two elections, what is going to be important is either the dismantling, or at least the attempt to dismantle, the construct of political tribalism that existed here, and that exists in, at least in the Caribbean, all the Caribbean islands. Mm-hmm. We had a situation now where somebody who claims to support a particular party, for instance, PAM, would have voted openly for someone who is not a PAM candidate. And likewise on the Labour side, people who would have been Labour supporters.
Who are still Labour supporters.
Who are still Labour supporters who would have voted for someone who did not run on a Labour ticket.
Yeah.
And I think that is monumentally important. Because we've seen how, and we are seeing now, how this blind allegiance to party and how that fosters this tribalism that tears societies apart. And I think when we look back at these past 2 elections, that is what's going to stand. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue. I don't know if the shackles of political tribalism are loose enough for the past 2 elections to cause some type of break, or we've just run to the extent of the length of the chains away from the base and will somehow be pulled back into it. I don't know what the future holds, but I do think that is at least for the politicians involved in the last 2 elections. I think that would be a big part of the legacy moving forward, because what we saw happen here, and like when I talk to people from different islands, like that is amazing to them. They can't understand how that was it, like how that happened. Like they don't understand.
Well, up until 2015, nobody thought it could happen either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think it's important for us to look at what is happening in the US now and what has been happening in democratic countries around the world. And seeing how party allegiance and the tribalism affects stability of nations. Like it's
what I found when I was in Canada is that there was heavy party allegiance, but not tribalism.
Right.
Yeah.
The difference in
significant difference.
The difference in the interest, not the interest. Sorry, the difference with the allegiance to a party is as superficial in their minds as the allegiance to a particular fruit or vegetable.
Right.
You will see 2 best friends arguing about NDP versus liberal ideologies and politics, and they are best friends in the world. And after the argument, ain't no whole blood moving for when the argument finish and they finish discussing the issues and so, you ain't think about it the next day.
Bro, what you're saying.
People are open about it, even young people.
Right.
As a big NDP supporter, they say, oh, for real? I'm a liberal. And it's like,
okay.
It's the same as if saying, before Boozy's pastor here, bye, just say the best. Say, oh, for real?
And I'm going to try it, you know.
And that's as far as it goes, you know?
Yeah.
Right. I think that the
extremism is ridiculous.
The love, I'm not even use love, but there's an understanding that the national interest supersedes party interests. And I think that's recognized throughout society. Right? However, I would say this. I think that it's interesting to note that America is an old democracy by democratic standards, right? By what we know as democracy. We're talking about what was going on in Rome and Greece and so. But what we know we call democracy, right? And so are we seeing what happens over time as democracy is allowed to evolve and, I guess in this case, devolve, right? And not only that, look at where we at now in our young democracy. Like we were 39? 39 years old now, and yeah, we see mothers throwing children out of the house because they went to a different party's political meeting and went on the platform and spoke for a different party, and you can't live in here if that's what you're doing, and them kind of things and so.
But Bailey, that ties back to something else that is unique to the Caribbean, and saying it specifically because of our size. The kind of proximity and influence a politician has over an individual's life.
Yes, indeed.
Because I can't blame a woman. I'm not saying it's right, but I can't blame her for feeling a certain way about a certain party when that party affected her life significantly and individually and targetedly, if that's even a word.
You
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't find that in Canada or the US, unless it goes down to local government. We're talking about city councils
and mayors and so on.
But in terms of the federal politics, the cabinet is very unique. With that, a cabinet minister can make sure you don't eat.
Yeah. I'll make sure they have somewhere to sleep.
A cabinet minister can make sure you lose your house, can make sure you don't get a house, can make sure your account lock off if they want to be that petty, right? Can make sure you never get a job in the country again.
Yep.
Whether it's in the public or private sector, and that doesn't happen federally elsewhere. When I say elsewhere, I mean in larger
big,
nations.
metropoles and things,
Right? So the tribalism runs, to correct that locally, it will take a different kind of politician to take office. One that isn't petty, one that isn't...
And not only that, one who is willing to put in place checks and balances to hold politicians like himself or herself accountable.
And not just that, one who's a statesman too, or a stateswoman, a statesperson. Let's use that. A statesperson.
No.
A statesperson that will put country before votes.
Let me say it before, we do understand we have callers on the line. However, we have 2 minutes left in the show, and I can guarantee y'all ain't gonna take 2 minutes. Because y'all never do. But
check us tomorrow.
We're gonna have to put in a sticking a pin in the calls for the remainder of the show, and because we're about to take the show off.
We run things.
Yeah.
But we need a shift in the culture of politics.
Definitely.
We need a shift in the culture of politics. We need politicians to be able to tell people no, and to tell the nation yes. Because when you'll have a policymaker going into office and making decisions just to ensure that they're re-elected, always have problems in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And that's why like China, yeah.
But that is why I keep telling you, democracy as we know it ain't along to go, yeah.
No, that's why I like China. That's why I like China.
One party,
and
vision.
We're planning for the next 200 years.
Yes.
And everything we do today has to fit into that narrative of 200 years.
Yeah, what it is we want to, and again, vision.
I mean, saying they got problems. Of course, they have the poverty. Of course, they have their classism and
But you could have issues with division, Amali. Like division doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, right. But in terms of,
but having a plan
for the country and
it's important. It's important.
I can't take it on by.
As a matter of, I thought you said you want to take it on.
No, I can't. No, what I'm saying is I can't take on the current culture.
Okay.
The current culture of entitlement and handouts.
That is systematically developed.
And all parties are guilty of it.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yes. Bro. And
they encourage it because they want to have...
But you see, but it backfires, because what people don't understand, when you foster a culture of dependence, you then inevitably foster a culture of entitlement.
Yep.
And when the entitlement come back to bite you, it does bite hard.
What's wrong with this guy, man?
A lot.
I'm the Pookie boy from New York City.
Are you calling me a crackhead? Because we all know what happens in New York City.
But hey, I love that movie so much.
Hey, classic
boy, Wesley. Yeah. I heard Wesley is in You're Coming to America.
Yeah, then you're coming to. You seen the trailer?
Yeah, but
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm
gonna watch it. But
when is it coming out? This April, hasn't it?
Yeah, but the only thing that upset me about this, and we spoke about this on the show thing, Amazon.
The outside trail thing?
No, Amazon. The fact that it's being released on Amazon.
Oh.
It should be a theatrical release. I would have hoped.
Oh. Yeah. Well, you're still paying the money, yeah?
Yeah. Who paying the money?
Amazon pull the post, Amazon get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Amazon got the most money in the world. Literally.
Bezos, speak up yourself. I hope you're listening. Probably not.
With what time?
But hey.
Anyway, it's time to leave.
Yeah, it's time to leave. We'll come to the end of the show. What wonderful conversation today. Wonderful debate and opinions and... Huh?
What? Oh, okay. Don't say it again.
Oh.
I will tell you when we're done.
I hear what you said. I hear what you said. Morning, Jade. We miss you.
Home time. Because you're about to do some wild stuff and I don't want to be a part of it. Come, send me home.
Anyway, folks. Yeah, yesterday was something that we didn't say it.
We did.
We didn't say hump day. We didn't say hump day yesterday.
We didn't say it. We didn't say it.
Okay, so post hump day.
Things are 2021 here.
Yeah.
People focusing on like business and stuff.
7 days in the world and exploding.
Yeah. I want America to fall. Anyway. I digress. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is the weekend.
Imagine that, huh?
Tomorrow is the weekend.
Tomorrow is first weekend of 2021?
Officially? First weekend of 2021. And I'm going to Nevis too.
Oh.
To frolic.
Wow. Frolicking in Nevis.
Frolicking in Nevis. They said they all love over there sweeter, so I'm going
to Well, I mean, if you're frolicking in Nevis, somebody has to be in a sundress. I'm not saying it has to be you, but
I'm just going to say, so who in the sundress, Amali?
I would not mind at all.
I mean,
honestly, a sundress is probably very comfortable.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I would love some breeze on my undercarriage. Love it. Pants are overrated. That's why I like Scottish people.
Oh.
They have the idea. They have the right idea.
So just wear kaftan and go.
With some Jesus sandals. Yeah, man.
Oh, boy.
You get breeze from the armholes.
And the floor behind me.
You get breeze from the armholes and you get breeze on
little small flowers in your beard might work.
Yeah, man.
Put some dandelions in your beard.
Oh.
Divine.
And a flower crown.
And some prayer beads.
No, you're frolicking.
No, frolicking. And that is the true Father Earth. Anyway. We leave and have a great day. Drive safely. Don't drink and drive. Use the underboats correctly. Please look out for our sanitary workers. And please don't be the traffic wardens don't want to stop doing as I like.
Yeah.
I know some of them might not, necessarily have an entire grip on things, but work with them. like try and... It's true.
Are they proper manners?
No, but the way traffic's supposed to flow, sometimes when they're doing things that are like, that make no sense.
Yeah, but we're working with it.
It's a matter of opinion and it's their job.
We're working with it still.
So we have to follow instructions. So please, guys, respect each other and don't forget.
You can't be everybody cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you tomorrow.